Exposition is the background information that the audience needs to understand the story. Exposition is one of the big challenges of writing any movie, especially a fantasy film, and even more especially a short fantasy film. One of the things that new writers often do is have two characters have a conversation right at the beginning of the story, and they just dump all that information on the audience at once. But dispensing just a little bit of the exposition at a time and teasing the audience with that can be a great way to increase audience engagement. The best example of this, in my opinion, in recent memory, is in David Fincher's Gone Girl with Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike. Because Fincher only tells you a little of the story at a time, your opinion of the characters and your perception of the story changes wildly. And that journey is super fun because of the brilliant and temperate release of exposition. In The Assurance, in order to understand the film at all, there had to be lots of exposition. So this was tough for us, and honestly, I'm not sure we did that great of a job with it. But I guess there were a couple things that still turned out pretty well, in my opinion. I really liked how Cordelia mentions Tayani's mission, and that she was special and mysterious, and that this all weighed heavily on Tayani. I think this gives just enough information to the audience to make them curious, which is really what you want your exposition to do. Because so much of this short little film is really bringing the audience up to speed with this world, we chose to have a narrator. In a lot of writing circles, having a narration is considered kind of like a form of cheating, I guess, because you're doing a lot of telling that might be better shown. And, I could see that. But with how short our film was and how much information we had to get to the audience for the story to make any kind of sense, having a narrator for us was really essential. Also, because of all this exposition and because of the shortness of the film, we felt that a narration would help the audience connect to our character a little faster. Narration is very intimate. It's almost like a super character because this one person is even more of your tour guide through the film as they hold your hand and walk you through this world. And with the economy of this film, I think that intimacy with Cordelia really helped. Another aspect of this intimacy with the narrator is that this is a fantasy film. Being so connected to one of the characters, I think also helps us feel more comfortable with this crazy foreign world. One other aspect of creating a voiceover is that you should understand, and this is my opinion though, I think you should make sure that you understand who the character thinks they're talking to and what the occasion is. In other words, are we hearing the thoughts in their head as they're happening, like in Memento?
Okay, so what am I doing?
Or is it like someone speaking to us in the past tense after the events of the film have all transpired, like in American Beauty?
In less than a year, I'll be dead.
Or A Christmas Story.
Meanwhile, I struggle for exactly the right BB gun hit.
Kind of like creating backstories and mythologies, this might be information that the audience never knows, but it will still help your narrator to have a consistent voice. In our case, we determined that Cordelia would be speaking to us as if she were writing in her diary during the time that she wandered in the wilderness alone, after she was abandoned by Tayani, but before she made her final climb. That way, we could kind of go on the journey with her as she put the pieces of the story together. We thought it would make it a lot more powerful to actually hear her get it as she's getting it, and then we could see her be confident and feel her get confident as we heard her talk in the present tense. So when we go with her and she's on the edge of that cliff and she pauses as the wind howls, there's no more narration because she doesn't know what's going to happen any more than we do. And hopefully that connects us more to Cordelia because we're now sharing this experience together with her. In the next movie, we'll look at some research I did in regards to how expositional narrations are done in other films.